Hello and welcome to the Oracle reading for the Taurus full moon that happened on the 15th or 16th of November, depending on where you live. I always pull these Oracle cards before I do any transit, and they're always sitting on deck during the collective reading and the all 12 signs reading, and that energy's like pumping through these readings. And I like doing these Oracle readings after the event. I do work with 6-month cycles, so even though we've had this full moon, the energy that came through with that moon is serving the Taurus area of our chart for the next 6 months till the Taurus new moon. So it's kind of locked in. And honestly, the vibe off of these oracle cards have just been glorious to work with, and just sort of scanning the energy is so in alignment with the astrology. So in this reading, I'm going to sum up very quickly the astrology, also some cool stuff that's happened since the full moon, and then I'm going to bring in the oracle cards, and usually channeled messages come through and other themes come through. So I hope you enjoy this reading. So let's begin with oh my goodness, what a full moon. It was conjunct Uranus and the fixed star Algol, and Algol is linked into Medusa, and it's about losing one's head or off with your head, as well as, you know, she turned people to stone. And there's this element of that which has become rigid that won't change. And so it's quite funny with the fixed energy of Taurus and Scorpio. And fixed energy can be kind of stubborn, right? I say that as most of my chart is fixed. But once it gets going, it keeps on going. And with this Uranian energy and the Algol, you know, the other side of the Algol is sort of distorted narratives. Medusa was deemed to be a monster, but there's a reason why she became what she became. And so there's an element of pulling down perspectives in the mind, right, that have blocked us from fully embodying our 3D experience on a personal level, right? That's the Taurus energy, the first earth sign, ruled by Venus. So there's a real sense of the Venusian qualities of feeling good in the 3D world, right? And Uranus is the path clearer, the breaker of chains. It will come along and liberate your life, right? In order to sort of get you in alignment with your soul's frequency. It's very inventive. It's very future thinking. It's one of the outer planets, so it's more galactic in its nature, because it's both connected to our solar system and beyond. So the overall message that came through in the collective reading and the collective tarot, there were lots of swords, right? And so there's this element of, even though it's a Taurus energy, it's a Taurus moon ruled by Venus, it was the blocks in our minds, right, being lost. We're disconnecting from them, right? That sense of off with your head, right? The ones that stop us from feeling good in our vessel, in our body, feeling abundant, feeling creative, and just feeling really nourished. Sorry. Hi. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and you just heard some vocal light language, and there's some physical light language. I've been doing these movements for nearly 4 years. The vocal side got activated last year just before the Sagittarius new moon. You know, channeling multi-dimensional energies. All of this is bringing in healing, attunement, and activation codes to the messages that come through in this reading. So overall, this full moon, with the moon being in her favorite place, she loves being in Taurus. She's exalted in Taurus, so our emotional body, our intuition, whether our needs are being met or not, how to give and receive nourishment, they're all being raised up high with this full moon. And then that liberation energy, those eureka moments, more thinking beyond the old paradigms and allowing us on a personal level to feel connected to our incarnation, because so often with everything that's going on in the world, it's really hard to do that, and that's not really the name of the game. We're here to incarnate and bring through universal energy, creation energy on earth. It's not about ascending to a different dimension. It's about channeling that energy through our vessel, through our creativity, through our autonomy and our curiosity and our openness out into the world. And that way we do help the collective. So that was one of the major things going on with this full moon. Saturn went direct on the day of the moon and over the weekend, and this is jokes. This is why I love astrology, right? So Saturn's in Pisces. which represents the ocean. And it's also, Saturn is the last visible planet to the naked eye. So it's linked into things being made real, right? Bringing it into the concrete realm. And it's about this level of our legacy, right? There's a real sense of responsibility and duty here with Saturn. And when it's retrograde, it can sort of not can highlight where we're not doing that, but it also can sort of restrict its energy, right? Its energy is doing differently to what it was done before. And so there is a sense, the last time Saturn went retrograde, not this time, the last time, it was when the Titanic submarine imploded, right? And they had done so many checks and balances and no one listened to any of the reports, and they went ahead. I think recently a captain who normally runs it was like, I'm never getting on that again. How can you put this out there? Like, and then that happened the day Saturn went retrograde, of going, hey, look, if you're not going to do what you're responsibly dutifully diligent to do, if you're not going to do your due diligence, there are going to be consequences. And so it's really fascinating what came out over the weekend with Uranus, which is very kind of alien energy, as is the 3 outer planets making harmonious aspects, which I've been banging on about. I will touch on it briefly here. And I think I'm going to do a separate lecture about all of that and really bring that all together. Is because I said that sort of galactic energy. Uranus is a bit of the contrarian. It's different from everybody else. It wants you to be confident being your unique self. Well, what came out over the weekend when Saturn goes direct in Pisces, the land of the ocean? A lot of people were saying, I think there was a big sort of press conference, or it was a debate that was happening where a lot of people were saying, yeah, the alien spacecrafts disappear in the ocean. Yeah, we've been checking this out. We've been doing our due diligence. We've been observing all of this, and this is the conclusion that we've come to. So the retrograde reflection on those things, and then going direct, the sense of authority, right? That Saturn can often be about hierarchical structures, and authority being impinged on you. That there's a sense of this group. It's annoying me that I didn't look up what the group was. I think it was probably in the US Senate or something, or one of those talks that they're doing. This big group of sort of officials, right? Saturn have done their due diligence, and they're saying these aliens, these UFOs, or what's the other term for it now, are where they go zoot around and then they disappear into the ocean. And so that's so appropriate for the astrology, just on the sort of the global scale. And I just thought that was just so on the money. It was ridiculous. Right, so that's some major themes with this moon. So I was talking about the outer planets, and obviously Uranus is conjunct the moon, and Uranus, Neptune and Pluto are all making harmonious aspects with one another. And harmonious aspects are the free-flowing, easy energy, right? They're ruled by Jupiter and Venus, the 2 yes planets, the 2 feeling good. And so they're all in yin signs. And in a nutshell, and I'm going to break this down in more detail in a separate lecture, Pluto was reorientating our rooted power and our magnetism to work with the magical reality that allows us to build for the long term. Capricorn. The magical reality is Neptune over in Pisces, really making that loud, of the non-rational energy, right, of source, of this sort of boundlessness energy of Pisces, very empathetic. But with Neptune being retrograde, it was like pulling back the veil that the magical reality doesn't exist, right? That's the illusion, that it doesn't exist. The reality is that it does, right? That there is the capacity for miracles for everyone. There is the capacity for abundance with everyone, because source is abundant, right? But we are going through denser matrices in order to get to that point. So Pluto, reorientating our rooted power, like that's our real primal power, our magnetism to transform and work with this magical reality, all in alignment with our soul's path, right? Our independence, our maverick energy, our confidence being that of going our own way with Uranus. Now, this was all locked into the moon, and the sun was involved in Scorpio, which added on another layer, right? And what actually formed with that opposition between the sun and the moon and these outer planets making aspects to each other and also to the sun and the moon, it formed what looks like a cradle. right? So we've got an opposition, right? The moon and the sun. We have a sextile between the sun and Pluto over in Capricorn. We have a sextile between Pluto and Neptune, and we have another sextile between Uranus and the moon and Neptune. And then from the moon to Pluto, we've got a trine. From the sun to Neptune, we've got a trine. So it forms like this cradle. And it was really interesting that throughout the all 12 signs, until I really clocked this, I was feeling this sense of rebirth, and talking about it in one, the collective reading, and two, the all signs. But I hadn't quite clocked the cradle energy because the chart was very busy. And it wasn't until the Gemini reading, which is appropriate because Jupiter is in Gemini and Jupiter rules Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn was ruling Venus in Capricorn, and Venus was ruling the moon. So there's this element of that energy coming through for the Gemini. There's this, we got rebirth, and I don't know about any of you, but I certainly feel like I've had a nervous system reboot, right? And the lead up to this full moon was a lot. There was a lot of old paradigms coming up, and I know that happens with nearly every transit, but this one just felt really heavy, as if all the work that I'd been doing didn't seem to matter, hadn't seemed to be integrated. And then around the moon, everything just came into alignment. And it was just such a beautiful frequency that we're being, Uranus often is linked into the nervous system. And so when you've got maybe a difficult Uranus transit, especially when the North Node was there in Taurus, I noticed when planets were coming into conjunction with all of that, I couldn't drink coffee. Like my digestive system, my whole nervous system was so hyperactivated because of Uranus, and obviously the North Node activates things and amplifies them, that it can hyperstimulate, right? There's a lot of energy with Uranus. And so overall, just generally feeling like moving through sort of a denser energy into this sense of flow, and the mood that of the people that I've talked to, there's a real shift in perspective in the way that they're moving through the world, and it's just so beautiful to see that show up. The one thing I wanted to bring up as well is when I finished my collective reading, the energies that I channeled said, great, you got all of it in essence, but there's this one thing that we want you to sort of say more strongly, and that is that this moon was bringing in activations around channeling, intuition, astral travel, all of the sort of the unseen realms, the things that we're not concrete on, that we're all becoming more collectively aware of and working with, all of that sort of energy. That there were going to be some big activations with this full moon, maybe around the full moon, but certainly the unfolding over the next 6 months. And what that's going to do is lead to more situations that you're taking this energy into, and this won't be for everybody. Taking this energy, and obviously always do what feels right for you and what feels safe, taking this energy into arenas and social dynamics where you normally might have just kept it a little quiet, right? You kind of read the room with this kind of thing. I know I've certainly been through that cycle. As I said, the movements that I do, there we go, hello, it's nearly 4 years. It'll be 4 years in May, and it was after a period of realized of stripping back the masks I'd been wearing my whole life, and it got to that point when this started happening, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. I was down for it, but I was like, genuinely, literally, this is weird. But I was really honest with people. I'm really upfront when I meet people, no matter who they are, where they come from. I'll usually, because the energies kick off, I'll find some way of bringing it into the conversation in a really neutral way, where it's not kind of like making people feel nervous or scared or all of that I've been pushing that in a lot of situations because I don't want to mask anymore. That there's something around here where we're going to get, they said they wanted to clarify that you're going to get a lot of protection and a lot of support in those situations, and it really, really ties in with what came through with the Libra and Aries moon cycle that we just had, and that was about bringing more of this energy into social dynamics, right? And that, that made sense because the North Node in Aries is striving for us to be confident, being our autonomous, independent selves, while that South Node in Libra is refining our social interactions, right? Releasing a lot of old habits and really bringing depth and nuance where we are confident being ourselves without diminishing the social harmony. And Venus was square the notes by degree at the time of this moon, and obviously Venus was ruling this moon, so there was an element of bringing that in, right, of really strengthening that longer term eclipse cycle into this moon, of allowing us to feel good about how we move through the world and bring just certain more energies into spaces that may not have encountered them. And honestly, most of my experience has been very, very curious. Strangely enough, one part of my family, not so much. They like to pretend that it hasn't happened, bless them. But it's a weird energy to be a part of. And so I can understand why, as I said, always do what's right for you in that regard. But I just wanted to hone in that was a message that I didn't quite get fully in the collective reading. And they really wanted me to bring it in again, just sort of this sort of awareness that you are protected. But it is also about you following your intuition when it feels right in that moment. And I feel whatever sort of difficulties or conflict energy that may come up are going to lead to sort of more expansion of consciousness and healthier conversations, perhaps when the fallout sort of just, calms down a little bit. Right, let's get into the cards. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rows and 5 core cards as of the main flow of what this moon is all about. And this first one feels like, the kind of what I was talking about in the lead up to the moon. This feels like the activation and then how it unfolds. So first up, I'm going to read a card from the Healing Waters by Rebecca Campbell. I use this deck whenever there's strong water energy, and obviously Saturn went direct on the same day of this moon. We also had Neptune involved, as well as the sun being in Scorpio. Stagnant waters, feeling stuck, a call for shifts, flow and change. Perhaps it's the movement of water that contains the intelligent flow of energy that makes life possible, the life force that animates all the living things. When water stops flowing, it can become stagnant. This lack of flow can cause a build-up and lead to pollution. Perhaps we're like that too. Perhaps we need flow just as much as the waters of the world. This card brings with it a call for flow, movement, and change. How can you begin to flow a little more with life's changes? Where in your life do you feel stuck? What has become stagnant or lacking of vitality, ease, and flow? How are you being called to re-inject more movement into your life? Sometimes when we go through life, our energy can become stuck, physically, emotionally, spiritually, romantically, and yet life is always there to support our return to flow, to movement. This is a wonderful card to receive as it comes with a magnificent opportunity for shifting energy and embracing change and new possibilities. Perhaps you've become complacent or just feel stuck. Maybe you've been avoiding something deep down and this is causing the waters within you to stagnate. Perhaps the intelligence of the water is inviting you to call upon the intelligence within you to find the courage to embrace a new way of flowing with life. So, 1, connected to the Uranian energy, and 2, the fixed water of Scorpio. Now, that sun in Scorpio was helping us really look into the darkness and be confident doing so, of dredging up those limiting beliefs, those things that are stuck in our head, in our emotional body, to be released. And so I really like that it said courage as well, because the sun was in mutual reception with Mars over in Leo, and courage and the strength card is linked into the heart space, into Leo. And so there's a real sense of our motivation and drive, taking action with the vision that we've got from Scorpio of really understanding the truth of the matter and clearing away the sludge in order for this rebirth to happen. Now, I forgot to really follow up. There was way more astrology, but I talked about Jupiter influencing this moon. So Venus ruled the moon. Venus was in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. Saturn was in Pisces, which is traditionally ruled by Jupiter, which is what I work with. Jupiter in Gemini, ruled by Mercury, where was Mercury in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter. So even though this was a Venus moon, this was being governed by Jupiter and Mercury. And so it wasn't at all surprising that a lot of swords showed up, because it was we're raising our perspective in order to feel embodied on this planet. And so they were governing a lot of the chart, but the other side was the Mars Saturn, where we're able to take action from a place of real fixed, intense, powerful energy of Scorpio, where we're not going to ignore the reality that we discover, the truths that we discover, and be able to implement them through the heart. Next up, we have the Watchers Transpersonal. This is from the Shaman's Dream Oracle, one of my favourite decks at the moment. Serendipity, the Observer Witness Transpersonal. When Watcher appears, it's an invitation to stop doing. Pause, get off the treadmill and take a deep breath. Find the witness within, the one who can observe the fire and fury happening around you but is not caught in any of the drama. The time is right to step back. If you have a thought or opinion, keep it to yourself. If you have a feeling that needs to be expressed, do it in the shower. Do not engage with the action happening around you. Simply observe. Watchers show up to direct your attention to the horizon and away from the anthill in front of you. Others might think that you are simply doing nothing, but let them know that you are helping the sun to set in the evening sky. There are bigger things to attend to. You have spent such a long time trying to correct the course of events and the actions of others. Let it be for a short while, as you become the observer rather than the doer. The Watcher invites you to break free from the linear, causal pace of the petty day-to-day. Rise to divine coincidence, to serendipity, and notice how the act of seeing the heart of the matter produces results. Things happen without you doing anything. Creation unfolds in its own mysterious way, requiring only a sacred witness. I love this because it's kind of highlighting how we can get stuck in the rat race, on the hamster wheel, and not slow down and be present in the body, right? That observer mode is so important, especially, as I said, with the Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, all in yin signs, this moon being in the yin sign. So this in the lead up of, I was talking about, I felt like a lot of old paradigms were coming up and I was just letting it happen. I wasn't trying to control the situation. I wasn't losing my mind over it in terms of worry and dramas going on. I've been speaking about this a lot, and I think it's linked into that card, is I've been noticing how all the things that happen, even if it's a mistake or something that you'll have a regret over, or it's a difficulty, or it doesn't look like things are turning out the way that you would like them to, they've all acted as precognitive facilitators for a future experience. And just, I'll have like, oh, that doesn't quite work for me, and then I'll let that go, and then the situation will just unfold in the way that I needed it to. And that's through that, a lot of that Scorpio energy of really being able to sort of let go of the paranoia, right? And that's one side of the Scorpio energy that we're working through, as well as the joy in the understanding that even those difficult moments are filled with source, and then genuinely seeing that unfold. And I like how this is bringing up a lot of like non-rational energy, a very non-linear, that the world moves in that way. And that is that Neptune energy, which was sextiling the moon and trine the sun, as well as the Saturnian energy influencing Venus of, no, this reality does exist. Open your eyes and observe where it is. Slow down so you can see it happen, right? That Taurus energy is the slowest sign in the zodiac, right? Slow down, smell the roses. Whenever it's Taurus season, I want to be barefoot on the grass. I want to just be still in the wonder of nature. So you can feel your senses, you can feel what your body's trying to tell you, and really be able to observe the connections that are going on of like, oh, that kind of fell into place. Because if we're busy, we don't necessarily notice all of that. But I also feel like that's bringing in what we've been needing to do, what we've been doing in the lead up to this full moon in order to just be in a kind of surrender mode so the transformation can happen, so that rebirth can happen. Next up we have the Bardo from Kim Krantz's The World Unknown Archetypes deck. The liminal, the in-between, the transition. It is said that the Bardo is a place between this life and the next, a liminal realm through which souls pass. Envisaging this inherently mysterious space creates the potential for us to rise above the concerns of this world and see our relationships through a cosmic and timeless lens. We may receive messages from those who are no longer with us, or see visions of lives not yet lived. In the Bardo, there is a potential to forgive the unforgivable, to say the unsaid, to see the unseen, to love the unloved, to let go of all the things that cause us pain. The Bardo suspends us in its spaciousness for just long enough to open us to higher wisdom. Its energy does not belong to Earth as we know it, but rather the cosmic network of which we are a single thread. Dishenimo dofiana, dishenimo toela, dishenimo yala, dishenimo tofiala, inamadom. And this is, an interesting card to show up given the Scorpio moon that we just had before the Taurus full moon happened the day after Halloween. It happened on All Saints' Day, so it's pulling that Scorpio energy of the deep resonance of the thinning of the veil, and that this veil is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. And in terms of the rebirth, this is like our old self dissolving, and our self before the rebirth being in the waiting room before this all kicked off. And it's saying about rising above the concerns of the world. One of the things with this moon is it's helping us do that, right? That there's so much. If I allowed myself to feel the feelings that I feel fully about what's going on, I would be curled up in a ball crying the whole time. And that's, as I said at the beginning, that's not what any of Source or the guides or the dead want from us. They want us to enjoy, they want us to create. I often bring up how a lot of near-death experiences, it doesn't matter what the situation that led to that experience, they're all like, no, this is where we're supposed to be. This is where we create. This is where we're supposed to be. Like, they're really like solid on it. And I always try and remember that if I'm sort of feeling a little frustrated or whatever, that actually know it, all the things we do are abundant. Everything, the breath that we take is a space of abundance. Next up, we have Silence from Rumi's Gift by Ari Hanava. Wonderful oracle deck that puts these beautiful images to the poems of Rumi, who was a Sufi mystic. And the Sufi mystics were very contrary. They broke against traditional sort of aspects of Islam. They drank wine, they danced, they wrote poetry, they called God the beloved, right? Everything was about love. And so I'm sure you're aware of Rumi. If you're not, go check out some of their poems, or any of the Sufi mystics that you're drawn to, because the messages are just always so beautiful. And here we have silence. We have silence in the Bardo as our stagnant water shifts and changes, as we're in this energy of observing this transition and letting it unfold. Last night I became mad. Love saw me and said, I am here. Don't shout, don't wail, just be silent. I said, oh, love, what I fear is something else. Love said, there is nothing else. Just be silent. I will whisper divine secrets in your ear. Just nod yes and be silent. I said, is this face angel or human? Love said, neither angel or human, just be silent. I said, I will lose my mind if you don't tell me. Love said, then lose your mind and stay that way. Just be silent. You who sit in this house filled with images and illusions, get up, walk out, go, and be silent. Ishali diala, dishala madufala, dishani moyela, dishani modoela, dishani motoela, dishani motoya. I'm just going to read a little bit of what Ari Hanava has written about this poem, which is so funny in regards to astrology. This Rumi poem is directed at the mind. The mind wants to know and plan and predict. This is useful until it becomes habitual or rigid. Then it distracts us from tapping into the source of wonder, from being still, and from responding to life's challenges with joyful spontaneity. This poem reminds us if we want life's wisdom to speak to us, we must first be silent. So that's kind of summing up that energy that I said about Taurus, this sense of love. We've got Venus ruling this moon. She's in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Saturn can be a little bit distant, a bit cool, a little bit silent in its nature. Ishali do feel a very grounded energy of just be still, be silent, observe. Clearing the clutter, that Algol Uranus energy, liberating the mind so you can be still in your vessel. Not restless, not regretful, not full of discomfort or shame, but in a state of reverence for your own existence and that of the universe. Itoela disha tufala itana. Itoela disha ne moto fuck. Woo! This reading is wild. Okay, what do I want to read first? Possibility for Union, Skybridge. Where's that deck? Hello. So, this, interestingly enough, came up for the Jupiter in Gemini collective reading. And I cannot recommend that transit series enough. That was so much fun to do. That Gemini energy is so powerful and so facilitating to everything that we're working through. And obviously Jupiter is only in a sign once every 12 years. So that transit's still live. It's because Jupiter's still there. And it will really help amplify wherever Gemini is in your chart. All the planets have their own playlist, so it's really easy to find. Possibility for union, what needs to be connected. I love the Skybridge energy, right, of Uranus, bringing that Uranian energy with Neptune, with Pluto into the 3D, and the sense of the bridging of the unseen and the seen realms, right, the two pillars on the High Priestess, on Lady Justice. You can see that, the reference for the two in the Gemini, the sense of the twins, of the two sides of the same coin coming into union. Like eat. Like the synchronicities for me have been going absolutely mental in almost every area, and it's all in the little areas, and it's building and it's building and it's building, and it's just I'm like, there's a part of me behind the scenes just constantly like mouth agape, like oh whoa, can't believe this, but it's still happening. It's happening again. What the f? Like, just genuinely, like, there's a part of me that's jumping up and down for joy of going, this is bananas. It's while the cynic's kind of like, don't trust it. That part of me isn't as loud as it used to be, but I still keep that part around because I think it's very useful. You stand before a seemingly unbreachable abyss, and there is no possibility of retreat. The path behind you is no longer a viable one. So that old version, those old paradigms that Algol has got rid of, right? That old way of thinking and being and feeling in the vessel, right? One of the things that came through very loudly, obviously our physical body, all its senses can often be orientated towards previous trauma situations, and so you go into a situation that's chill and fine, but there's maybe a something about it that your body is reminded of a situation where it wasn't chill and it wasn't fine, and so you go into that space, you go into that I always get these around the wrong way, fight and flight mode, right? When actually you just want to chill and enjoy the ride. So I felt very strongly that was clearing that out. And with this nervous system reboot, certainly myself and the people that I've spoken to, there's pretty much across the board all in union with that. It's not that there aren't going to be difficult things, right? And also I loved, what did she say? Where was it? What did she say? She said something. So the mind becoming rigid, then it distracts us from tapping into source of wonder, from being still, and from responding to life's challenges with joyful spontaneity. Uranus is all about sudden things happening, right? Pure spontaneity with the joy of the moon being exalted and ruled by... the energy I'm feeling while I'm talking about this is just so Moorish and so stable, really stable. I genuinely can't believe it. Right. Life has brought you to this moment to offer you an as yet undreamt of possibilities, but you must no longer postpone what you know to be inevitable. And yes, you are allowed a breath or two before the leap, so take a bit of time to yourself, get away for a day or two of contemplation, or even just a few minutes walk to clear your head. Muster your courage so that you may cross the sky bridge. Skybridge appears when the moment is absolutely right for a quantum leap. Ashi tatum tatin. Do titanima. Do shoot anima titin. Oof. Ishanemo do toela dinama. Ishat. Whoo. Where was I? Yeah, quantum leap. That's so... like, we shifted paradigms, and we're in this process of figuring out the new realm and what tools we have at our disposal. Like, we've just landed in a new space, right? We've made that quantum leap, and now there's this rebirth on top of that that's readjusting our vessel to work with this. Life believes you are ready, even if you do not agree. Remember not to confuse your true state of readiness with your plans and preparations. Respond with a determined yes and let the universe take care of the details. You need only hold on to your positive affirmation, and the way will become obvious as you take flight and clear the abyss. Ooh. So we have from the 4 Agreements Oracle, which I recommend the book. It's very short. There's 4 agreements in it, and you live by those, things will unfold. It's a phenomenal book. And this was... so we have, don't make assumptions, be yourself around others. So it's kind of tying in with this sense of that Uranian energy of like you allowing yourself to be your unique self in this incarnation. And the message that came through of like, you may find yourself in situations where you're having to reveal a little bit more about yourself than you may have done previously, but you're protected and you're supported. The biggest assumption that humans make is that everyone sees life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. We are afraid to be ourselves around others because we think others will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do ourselves. So be yourself, love yourself. That's the Venus energy in Capricorn, squaring the nodes, right? Of really loving yourself in a way that's so mature and healthy, right? The moon was either going to happen on a Friday or a Saturday. Friday is Venus's day, Saturday is Saturn's day, and Saturn rules Capricorn where Venus is. So we had this crossover between Venus and Saturn of a heightening maturity around desire, connection, love, how we value ourselves. that isn't about not having fun, but doing so in a really grounded and healthy way. So I love that that's showing up with the Venusian energy. And the Mercury, right, of how you perceive and how you engage with the world based on those perceptions and releasing the assumptions in the process. Because it just frees your mind up of so much nonsense when you kind of sack off assumptions. I mean, we can't help them, but how much weight we put on them will just, yeah, as I say, free you up. Right, you get to control so many atoms. This is so great for Taurus, right? Let me get this nice and close. You know, the physical vessel, your physical body, and that you are in control fully. Even if that's sort of linked into your higher self, that higher self is you. You are an insanely complex being. You might as well be a galaxy. Don't focus on what you have no control over. Be grateful for what you do have control over. Countless miraculous cells, all vibrating in unity. So this might be one, really acknowledging the miracle of existence and the miracle of our reality. But I can see this as a very sort of helpful meditative practice to step into that space of everything is a miracle, everything is abundant, right? That just by acknowledging your own existence is a miracle. And the more that you hold that space, the more you're going to see the reciprocity of that with the universe. But so appropriate for the releasing of the mind in order for you to get into your body and bring the union together and be yourself together, the blending of the metaphysical and the material world, right? This real elevation of our incarnation from a place of love, from a place of acceptance. Oh, I'd forgotten. Okay, let's read that one. Didn't see that one there. One second, guys. Just got to get the page up. Oh, the angelic frequency card does not come up very often. I remember when I first got this deck and I was just sort of playing around. Often when when I'm shuffling for myself, they want to use the whole deck. And so they were sort of doing lots of different things and stacking cards in certain ways. And this was before, I believe this was before I had my vocal activation, or it was around the time the activation happened. That when I touched this card, I started basically kind of singing like a choral hymn, like sort of very, very angelic frequency. And that was quite wild to hear that was what actually came through, was this sort of very choral group energy, classical vibe with the angels. Angels are here, you are safe, potent connection. The angelic frequency is the energy of angels and the angelic kingdom, which is aligned to service, devotion, authenticity, and love. When this frequency comes to us, it's because the gateway of our heart has aligned with it. We've essentially become an angel on earth. And honestly, I met someone, I went to Alex Gray's exhibition in London. If you haven't checked out Alex Gray, thoroughly recommend. Lots of psychedelic images, lots of powerful stuff. And I met someone at the exhibition, and their energy, I felt like there were angels all around them. And it was on the day of the full moon. Angels are the heartbeats of Source, and so when we're in touch with the angelic realm, we're also connected to the heart of God. This card features a being of light. The streams of light surrounding it are the angelic frequency pouring down to light up our life. This image also unlocks our soul memories of our guardian angel. Before we were in this life, we danced across the midnight sky, and as the universe follows the law of attraction, our angel was attracted to us because our likeness was also in them. So we became connected. And since then, our angel has been with us through every lifetime and experience. Angels are drawing close at this time, so be open to signs and synchronicities that confirm this. It's important for you to know that through your actions, choices, and service, you have upgraded your spiritual connection and your frequency. Rejoice, for you may be rewarded with abundance and blessings at this time. And you have been making choices that are not just your own for your own greater good, but for that of all those around you. Your guardian angel is with you now, helping you remember your infinite power and potential. Reach for the stars and trust that all the efforts you have been making, both internally and externally, will bring blessings and opportunities. The path you are on is aligned to your highest good, and the support you need is there for you. You are cherished by angels. Ooh, getting chills. Actually, I'm not getting chills. What I'm just feeling is very warm in the body, very comforted in the body. I feel like this is real. You know, it feels, there's a density to it that's not heavy. It's just, there's this all this meaning of like, no, this is the truth of reality. Dishini moyala, dishaniala, diani moyala, dianima, ishatani madufala, dianima. And again, all of this is really doubling down on this sense of the birthing that we're being supported, we're being ushered in by the angels, we're being protected as we move through the world, and feeling it, and really feeling it. Itiali modoila. Gathering around the power of community, being safe and secure, allowing help. There are times when you need positive reinforcement from others. Perhaps your journey has made you tired just before reaching the proverbial finish line, where your friends await to cheer your arrival. Know this, you are not alone. Regardless of whether you think you are, people gather around to help you with your next step. So there's the angels, the guides. So often we can forget that we're literally surrounded by everything. Itala, di ato at inma ot at it at ot at it. I don't you do ma do shenima ot alamada. Di sheni alamo duela man di shat at inima ot duela man. Anima. There's a sign that there's quite a few hanging around right now. Ishali do it mana. I let them, if I really just carried on continuing with the light language, they would be chatting for hours, guys. So Ishali do it ma. Where were we? People gather around to help you with your next step as you bring it forth from the cosmos into the beauty of life. There has never been another you before, and you have a unique relationship with your friends, family, communities, and all those who gather to help you in the unseen realms. God, it's making me want to cry. Now is the time to allow assistance from others. Ask for it and trust you will receive. You are safe and secure right now in this moment, truly supported in your beautiful, amazing, complicated life. You are heard by angels, witnessed by the divine, and loved. Yes, loved, now and always by life itself. Whatever your query, you will find help you need to achieve what you desire, and you will not have to do this alone. Count on it. And the fact that the energies put that on there is beautiful. That's, I just feel it. It's the amount of things where I've just sent off the signal, but not tried to fix it myself, not then carried on worrying about it, and got on with my life. And that support came in every time of things just slotting into place. And it's not, I'm not saying this that there might not be, because, you know, who knows? We're moving through denser frequencies here, right? We're integrating a high level of consciousness that's being drip fed to us by the universe. And some of us are further along front runners who are already kind of floating, only eating light. You know, there's people out there and they're doing all these things that is facilitating the other stages, right? You've got to think of the evolutionist stages. I used to really have a problem with wanting no one left behind, right? And really struggling with how I was expanding in regards to what I was seeing. And it kind of made me go a bit stagnant in my evolutionary journey. And it's taken a while to really get to this point of being very very embodied in knowing that the individual is serving the collective when they are working in this space. But I kind of lost my point. What was I saying? The support and the help, that it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger without us really needing to control and evolve in it. And obviously everybody's going to be you're all going to be at your own stages, and as I said, it's not that there aren't necessarily going to be challenges. As I said, we're moving through denser frequencies, but we're going to meet them with, what was it, joyful what was that phrase again? I want to write it down. It's so good. Joyful spontaneity, right? To be open to what's going to happen and not worry about how the plan is going to unfold. And then with all of this, we have the Stellar Gateway activation. Oh, I really like this card. Infinite potential manifestation vortex. I just heard, how dare you doubt us? I'm sorry, I'm just mindful, that's all. I'm trying to work. I'm like, it's the embodiment is getting there of that trust, right? Trust has been a word that's been screaming at me for the really loudly for the last 6 months and for the last year. I've had trust issues my whole life, right? For various reasons. I think we all do. This moon is really helping show up in the 3D and show us, this is the observer energy, of time and time again, be observant of what is unfolding and not cynical, and just keep adding those notches, those synchronicities, those situations to that trust bar, right? So where it's, where you're essentially getting into high priestess mode. The Stellar Gateway governs our connection to the spiritual laws of creation and the quantum field, and holds our life's potential, as it holds all the intentions we set before this incarnation and all the intentions we set during it that support our ever unfolding path of our earthly experience. This feels like the Jupiter Mercury energy. Jupiter is often linked into the law, into a deeper wisdom. And Mercury, I feel, is the intentions that it's talking about. And they're in alignment with each other, upgrading. Energetically, this portal is beyond time and space. And when we connect to it, we're into alignment with all the aspects of our soul's journey, including when we were part of the cosmos. This image is a reminder of our potential and our ancient and starry connections. The pyramid is a symbol of rising power and how our soul has existed through lifetimes. The Stargate is a projection of our own stellar gateway. This card is therefore a reminder that all things are possible, and that with the right alignment, we can draw the powers of heaven down to earth. Shut the front door on your way out, Source, in order to create heaven upon earth. It's so funny when you realize everything that you do is channeling. And that's everybody, by the way. I'm not just talking about myself, but it's hilarious that I said that at the beginning and it's shown up in the card. You are a master of manifestation. Every one of your thoughts, actions, non-actions, and choices is affecting the unfolding of your path. Realize, I like that way he said non-actions. Realize that you have great potential and power within you. And through your focused awareness, you can draw on heavenly support to create the life of your wildest dreams. Know that all the energies you connect with are carrying you up to your stellar gateway. Know that all the energies you connect with are carried up to your stellar gateway, which is above the head. And if they're aligned with the intentions your soul had before this incarnation, opportunities will come your way. It's important to consider connecting with your cosmic origins at this time, and also tracking down the intentions of your soul. For if you can bring your wishes in this life together with your pre-life intentions, you can live a life that's aligned with the highest heavens. I feel really called to pull a tarot card of how to do that, right? How to link the pre-life intentions with your conscious wishes in this incarnation. Like, what energy do we want to channel to be able to bring that in and bring that into alignment? Oh, okay. So, Diela, di shanimo, shanima. Got a couple of cards here, and they're swords and pentacles. Ituela di shanima dietianimo. Ot. So, we've got the Four of Swords, the Four of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. So, how to do it? How to get into it? So we've got the swords, the perspectives that are being released. We've got the pentacles of the Taurus energy. So I'm loving the synchronicities here. That Four of Swords is getting us to know that we're held by something bigger than ourselves, right? They're in a church. This is meditation, this is prayer, this is stillness. To observe that the Three of Swords are no longer in your heart, right? And through that observation, we then come to a deeper truth, because we're releasing the binds that have been around our heart space and finding the clarity of the truth within ourselves through that act of observation, through the act of the awareness that we are being held by source, and through the sense of stillness to bring in the clarity, right, the divine inspiration, right, of the combination of these two things. We also have the Seven of Swords. Love the Seven of Swords. This figure is stealing away the Five. The Five of Swords is domination and subjugation. It's the bully in the room, victim mentality. It's winning at what costs. And in the Five of Swords, the figure who's won has won the Three of Swords. So this is about doing things differently, moving away from conflict, right? It is the color of the sun. It's a big yes card. And it's left with the Two of Swords. Now, the Two of Swords is all about going inward and realizing you are in a new landscape. And you've gone on a long journey. And who are you now? And give yourself that pause. This moon in Libra, the Two of Swords. And this is the moon in Aquarius. Give yourself that pause to go inward, to allow yourself to recalibrate, and for your intuition to guide you of where you're at now. So several messages of how to activate. Realizing that the Three of Swords is no longer in your heart. Know that you are held by something bigger than yourself. Give yourself pause and rest and meditation or prayer or whatever it is to receive divine inspiration. Might just be sitting, staring in nature, whatever it is for you. But there is a sense of slowing down. The Seven of Swords, this is about moving away from conflict, from trying to dominate, from being right, from judging, all of these things where we then come into a state of inequality. This is also about thinking differently when it comes to conflict and working in a different way. And with these Five of Swords being stolen away from us, they're no longer in our framework. It's allowing us to then go inward to really figure out who are we now in this new vessel. It's kind of a new vessel, in this new paradigm, right? This quantum leap. How to work with it. Right, we've got the Four of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, so 2 fours. It's a sense of stability in the material realm. Four of Pentacles for me is very much about creating from your inherent frequency. Often see sort of this protection energy around the Four of Pentacles from the outside world, from the groupthink, from the collective energy, from the conditioning. No longer diminishing how you create from your place of stability and sovereignty, see the crown, from your inherent frequency. But I can see maybe doing meditations to clear that energy, and also doing protection shields around you and acting in a way that strengthens this. And the Knight of Pentacles is saying, take your time, put this stuff into practice, know that you're going to get there. Know that you're going to get there, and that you've got the biggest horse in tarot supporting you. You're going to get wherever it is that you need to go. All it is about showing up every day, right? Being grounded, being present, being in this incarnation, in the 3D world, and putting things into practice that you're getting the zings with, like you're getting the downloads over, doing the work, right? I'm sorry to say, but you got to do the work. It's not anymore. Okay, that was cool. That was cool. So, the alchemical wedding. This is another Kim Krans deck. This is her Wild Unknown Alchemy deck, and we have the Alchemical Wedding. A ritual, celebration, uniting. All hail the alchemical wedding. The laboratory morphs into a dreamlike dance floor, and all your allies, fellow alchemists, and ancestors are here to witness the celebration. What was once lost has been found. What was once denied has come fully into the alchemist's embrace. The work is often felt as serious and studious, but the alchemical wedding is a moment of levity and lightness. When this card arrives, it's of the utmost importance to mark the occasion. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Honor and acknowledge those who have helped you along the alchemical path. You have come so far. We're all alchemists. If you think about the alchemical process, that a lot, I think, is in the medieval times, in the Renaissance, where predominantly dudes were hanging out in laboratories trying to turn lead into gold, right? And so this was deemed to be the alchemical process, the stages that you go through from lead, the sort of the densest, heaviest metal, to gold. The light, malleable, glistening gold. Now Saturn is linked to lead and the sun is linked to gold. And the alchemical process is an inner work. I can't remember which text it is. Is it in the Emerald Tablets? There's a story that really highlights that it wasn't about manifesting in the physical world, this particular process. The main role was it of pulling back those layers of the denser energy of lead and getting to the illumination of gold. And we're all doing that. We're all on that process. And I love that this card has shown up. It's basically saying the work you've been doing, the inner work, the implementation of the inner work, the embodiment of it, there is cause for celebration. We've all done really well. Despite what? Nuclear threats, illness threats, earth threats, comet threats, food threats, division of society for really no good reason, when it's all economical, the problems, and it's all smokes and mirrors to get us angry at the wrong things. Anyway, sorry, don't mean to go on about that. Honor and acknowledge those who've helped you along the alchemical path. You have come so far. Energy radiates from the uniting of opposites and the redrawing of life's blueprint. Oh, I like that. Along with what were we getting about? What card did we just do? Oh, about the intentions, soul intentions of reorientating to the blueprint, and the blueprint being upgraded because we've done the work over certain soul contracts, that new ones are coming in that are in alignment to the next stage of the elevated blueprint, right? The advanced blueprint, but that was always the inherent blueprint. The new form has arrived. The unknown has become known. You'll be back to your existential queries and tinkering ways in no time. Now the work is to revel in the miracles. Oh my God, this is brilliant. Oh, this reading's making me so happy. Okay, the alchemical wedding is a radical act of presence and acceptance. Do something spontaneous today without rules, books, spreadsheets, social media, or schedules. Actually, I'm feeling this one more. So, because this was a Venus moon, I used the Divine Goddess Oracle deck, and we have Parvati, the goddess of devotion. I am love that doesn't leave. When I commit to love, my soul evolves. Well, you're just Parvati. You're summing everything up. Look at what a glorious image. That's just so very Moorish. Parvati embodies the divine strength of devotion. She is the mountain that love becomes Venus is in Capricorn, which is the mountain goat, right? The bigger structures of the earth. I just want to jump up and down for joy. I really do. She is the mountain that love becomes when we devote ourselves to another and to our own soul. Parvati is the Hindu goddess of fertility, of love and devotion, and of divine strength and power. She is the gentle, nurturing aspect of Shakti, or feminine energy. She is part of the Tridevi, a trinity of powerful Hindu goddesses together with Lakshmi and Saraswati. Parvati's name means she of the mountain. Her icons and depictions date back to 400 BCE. She is Shiva's wife and holds his trident, and she is the mother of Ganesh, the remover of obstacles. That's so on the money. Isha tum tum tum, Isha tum. Shiva lives with Parvati in her house on Mount Kailash. Their favorite pastime is discussing Hindu theology. Traditionally in India, a woman goes to live with her husband's family, so this reversal reveals Parvati's priority and power. By living on Mount Kailash, Shiva becomes a part of Parvati's lineage. She is the bond that connects all human beings, a bond of love that helps our souls evolve. When your soul selects her card, what is soft, gentle, and nurturing like water can be far more powerful than what is inflexible and fierce. The energy of this mountain goddess is about the strength we can give and receive when we devote ourselves to the healthy bonds of love. Parvati is about the divine feminine potency of being a calm, benevolent presence, especially when something seems to threaten a deeply meaningful relationship. Transformation with this goddess calls for a softening. When a situation is hard, even painful, Parvati is suggesting that you allow your fist to unfold. Open and release what is clenched in fear or stress. Remember that your love is a mountain that cannot be moved, and that this bond between you is holy. No human hands or words can ever break it. I love that. That's really kind of summing up, what I was saying about a lot of fears and worries. I've just been genuinely letting them go. It's not that I'm not allowing myself to feel them. I'm just then finding ways to just get on with my life. And by that surrender, that letting go of the death grip, hello, Scorpio, that it allows the flow of energy, the flow of transformation to come in. The answer of what's next or highest for you can be found through the subtler acts of simply abiding, not reacting, not running, not hiding. A deep reservoir of power can surge up from within us when we choose to remain present. Letting devotion inhabit us in moments. I'm feeling like that's not hiding from this incarnation, not running from it. Letting devotion inhabit us is in moments when our ego has typically fled, infuses us with the capacity to transform all of our relationships. And that's your relationship with being on this planet. It's not just about with other people. It's also with yourself, with source, with everything. Devotion is not attachment. It's letting go of the illusion that you and this lover, this friend, this child or family member, this soul within you can ever really be separate from you. Devotion brings us home to the point and purpose of every relationship, love. A love that can never leave, and that, like a mountain, can never move. A love that evolves the soul. Ooh! That is quite something. Hello, Venus in Capricorn. Now, I have not had this card from this deck before. So this is, look at it. What a smorgasbord on the eyes. So this is from What We've Forgotten by Amy Miranda. And this card is Gifts, and it's number 59. 59 even. Your magic powers. When you dream, are you using your eyes? Probably not. They're typically closed. You're not processing images with your eyes. You're in your consciousness, working in non-ordinary reality. Seeing or connecting to spirit is typically not done with our eyes. It's usually done with our consciousness. And usually it's done by employing the clairs. Who are the clairs? I call them the Seven Sisters, and you probably know at least one of them. The most popular clair is clairvoyance. It's the one everyone knows. It's the one most people equate with being psychic. But human beings have access to lots of clairs. Clairaudience, clairsentience, clairalliance, clairalliance, claircogniance, clairgustance, clairtangency. I'm sorry if I'm butchering all of those words. I need to go and look up half of those. Also known as psychometry. You may come from a family who has some of these gifts, or you may come from a family who refuses to acknowledge the clairs. This is so interesting. This is coming up when I talked about my family. Half my family, one side of my family just doesn't engage. It doesn't engage with this, and the whole message about people getting activated. Ah, love it, love it, love it, love it. Here's the thing: if one of us can do it, any of us can do it. It just takes practice. You know, I'm always saying we're all intuitives, we're all psychics, we all channel. We just do it in our own ways. And we're all going through stages of activations. I keep meeting people who are just getting activated or have been recently activated. And it's wild. It's so good. And I just think, and every time I think about technology, and it's so relevant for Pluto moving into Aquarius finally now, that neural chip in the brain is just trying to do what we're already getting activated to do naturally, right? The amount of times I message people and they're like, oh, I was just about to message you, or someone will say something and then somebody else will do the thing that facilitates the thing that somebody else said. It's just wild. Here's, oh, well, there we go. One clair may show up for you in your practice at first. You may meet the others later on. Today in this card, all 7 have shown up for you. Take some time to get to know the 7 sisters. I'll be doing that myself after this. How might you have already experienced them in your life so far? You may want to check with your circle of friends or family. Has anyone in your circle reported having met any of the sisters? You'll be surprised to learn that there's a lot of people on the planet right now who will tell you they are empaths. It's a clear feeling, also known as sister clairsentience. Ituela dishanima doe shalimo doe shala etinia dianima utoela dishanimo doela ma dishanima di ela dinimo doela ma dishania dinimoela dishanimo doela dishanimo dofala dishania Diane madishini dinimo do Diane dinimo da dinimo dushania dishinia. Ooh, tufala. Right, so we are beautiful. Be impeccable with your word. Hello, Jupiter and Mercury governing this moon. Create a beautiful dream. Your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Impeccability of the word only creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. I mean, that's pretty straightforward in its message of like, keep doing you, keep being really honest and radically honest with yourself about how you're feeling and what's going on in the world, like in your reality. And through that process, as well as really, again, that 4 of Swords is about the perspective around the dream of going beyond the wounds and really feeling held and being able to create. The bridge, the connection, the link, the gate. Bridges are built to connect 2 worlds. They create flow, allowing us to travel between realms, ideologies, personalities. This archetype is the gesture of acceptance, of saying yes rather than withdrawing, separating and saying no. When we cross a bridge to an unknown land, we are led magically into a new reality. We open up to otherness, healing and communication are made possible. We enter a state of curiosity, wonder and learning. The Shaman, for example, creates the bridge between the everyday world and the sacred. This card asks us to study the connections between the seemingly disconnected parts of our life, relationships, ideologies, histories. Remember that a bridge can't be forced. It must be made with love, or its structure will not withstand the inevitable weather of life. Ina, when light, acceptance, magic, communication. I shalimo doe lama di shanima. Di ala, that's beautiful. Again, the bridging with the two pillars, the blending of the material and the unseen realms, the blending of our guides, of our higher self, of source, of that connection coming in very strongly, of the different activations coming in. Iala di shani ala di shala, ila di ela ma ot. Di shani moyala di shania, etania. What have we got left? Woo, we got 3 cards left. Itoela. Star consciousness. Iladina maotoenia. Dianimoya number 17, which is an 8. We're in an 8 year. Star people, the lightsaber is you. Or zoom, shenama. We're made of star stuff. And we channel the light source and the life force. The force, yes, like Star Wars. Here's where I tell you that Star Wars was heavily influenced by Akira Kurosawa's film The Hidden Fortress. The film is set in 16th century Japan when Buddhism and Shinto had become the primary spiritual practices. Reiki is a form of Japanese energy healing using life force energy. In Shinto, Kami is the energetic force that inhabits everything, and in Star Wars, Jedi work with the Force. The Force is likely rooted in a very real energy healing practices and natural traditions of Japan. Also, he had Joseph Campbell. If you guys don't know who Joseph Campbell is, go check him out. He did lots of amazing work on sort of bringing together all of the myths of the world, like phenomenal energy. There's a really good Joseph Campbell series where he breaks that all down, and there's pictures and shit, so it's cool. That he was drafted in by George Lucas to help work on the script, and you probably heard of how it's believed that the script and the landscape was channeled from, was it the Orion Belt, right? Where all the sort of the Draco Wars and all of that. Ishali Diala, and you see it in Star Trek, that latest Star Trek. Oh, what is it? Is it not Voyager? Shout out to why have I forgotten her? Loved her. Janeway. Shout out to Captain Janeway. Ishali Diala, strong feminine energy as I was growing up. Star Trek Discovery. They had, no spoilers, but I won't, energy of that in as well. Ishali Diala di Shinimotoyela di Shinya. Here's the thing about the Force or Source. We need to wield this power of light with authenticity, respect, and honor, just like a Jedi. We're the vessels that carry the light of the soul. The lightsaber has always been us. We are the lightning rods made of magical star stuff. We can make the same kinds of sounds as a lightsaber. I mean, I tried, it didn't work. And then channeling just came through. Ishali Diala Mondofinia. We know Luke Skywalker are always trying to do the right by the Force. But what does your own life look like through the lens of a Jedi? How would employing your star consciousness, right, all those outer planets birthing us, right, this elevation of our integration of that star consciousness on this planet, the higher intelligence or higher self impact your daily life? How does it feel to wield the Source? Ishala Dianima. Diala. I mean, all of that's kind of self-explanatory of the progression of this, of we're working with it, and so those are kind of tools to help us amplify that energy and really accentuate the power of that in a way that serves us and the world around us. And then we have the lover. The heart, the beloved, the devoted. Pulsing through the heart of the lover is gratitude. The lover appreciates and experiences the world through the senses. Hello, Taurus. Reveling in beauty, song, art. I mean, this is so Venus in every way. Art, music, sense, and sensuality. This energy awakens at the tip of our tongue when we taste the sweetness of honey, kiss of a lover, or speak gentle words to a child. The lover lingers in foreplay, aroused not by the getting there, but the slow merging of self and other. And you can apply that to any situation, right? That unfolding, that undulating energy of not rushing into something and like needing to get to the end result immediately, and just take in the sweetness of the unfolding of yourself. This energy is usually experienced for short periods of time, as in order to feel it, we must be fully present and awake, with no expectations or rules about what should be. Rather, the lover is in awe of what the world presents. So it's saying we don't feel this very often because we're not those things, right? And all of this is saying we're activating the capacity to embody that on such a higher, deeper level. Rather, the lover is in awe of what the world presents, reveling in the glorious details, grateful to savor every last drop of life's offerings. Ishania diania, when light, connection, expansion, devotion, and awe. Ishilimodofiala, dishinimodofala, dishinima, dishinimo otoela. The lover archetype is present everywhere, not just where conventional forms of pleasure and beauty are found. The lover's awe is unconditional, right? So it's everything. All the things. Final card, guys. This has been a bit of a long oracle reading, but I've been enjoying it. Don't spend time on it, spend time in it. Reading and research will only take you so far. Being in the field can offer a greater understanding than textbooks. Interesting, I said box, of keeping us limited. Go out and get your hands dirty, right? This is the embodiment, right? This is the embodiment that's coming through, right? So much can be going on in the head, in the emotional body, but not actually embodied as fact, right? In your automative systems, and practice and going out and implementing it, putting it into practice, doing the damn thing, existing the damn life, right? Rather than always being in the head. Ishali Diala, that's such a great card to end on, of like just very bluntly summing up what's going on. Well, everyone, thank you all so much for being here. It is always an honor and a privilege to read for you. If you want a private reading, my details are everywhere. If you enjoyed and this reading resonated, hit that like button. Let me know how that full moon was for you. But other than that, be good to yourselves. Be good to those around you. Safe travels and be well until we meet again.